Hi humans, day 5. How was your day 5? Tell me about it. My day 5 was a little interesting. Like I mentioned to you before, we are on this fast prayer and Bible reading for the first 21 days of 2025. We did it last year as well. The reason why I say mine was interesting is because I've noticed that this year God has decided to help me be a little bit more vulnerable, and I'm not a fan of being vulnerable, even though I encourage everyone to be vulnerable. Even I encourage myself to be vulnerable. I'm just saying it's not something that's easy to do. And during this time, I've realized that God is making me vulnerable. God is forcing me to handle and to deal with my emotions and to talk about my emotions, which I'm not so great at. Needless to say, day 5 was vision for our faith. And the scripture reading is found in Ephesians 1:18, and it's another letter that Paul was writing. This time he was writing to the people of Ephesus, and this part of the scripture is actually a prayer. He's actually praying and he's saying a prayer to his people, or to God, obviously, for the people in Ephesus. And one of the things that he says is, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened, in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you, the riches of his glorious inheritance in his holy people. That was a little hard. Again, I'm telling you, this year, seems like every scripture is hitting me a lot harder than it hit me last year, though they are different. But I'm in a season. I'm definitely in a different season where I'm seeking to be more and more like God, and I'm looking in the mirror a lot longer, and looking at myself a little bit differently, and trying to see myself through the eyes of others, trying to see myself just to see and to find areas where I need to grow in, and not just necessarily always finding fault in everybody else or owning all the fault, but just to kind of identify certain things. And this says, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened. And it's in relation to the vision of our faith. Some of us are struggling with our faith in general. I mean, not some of us, I think everyone, every human does. I think that lately, especially those of us that navigate life through disabilities or some type of need for accommodations or any type of struggle of that sort, sometimes having faith is extremely difficult, because faith is believing in what you don't see, right? However, we sit here and we go through circumstances in our life, and we're praying and we're praying, and sometimes we're praying for years for things to happen, and we don't see them change. We don't see nothing happen. We don't see anything like that. And so we get discouraged, and we get to the point that we're like, well, then why do I continue praying? For what? Nothing happens, right? So this prayer is kind of an answer to that. He says, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened. And that spoke to me, because in the past 48 hours, I have seen a couple things that have reminded me of where God has brought me from, has reminded me of situations and circumstances that God has been with me through those things, and I've seen healing and growth, and then when you find yourself, or when you see that, when you look at things and you see like they've gone backwards, and you're just like, wait a minute, God, but you said, but God, but you did. Why do I see what I'm seeing? When I've known, and I know, and I believe that you have made a miracle, that you have healed, that you have brought provision, that you have brought clarity. Why do I see what I see? And it's not what I've been seeing. I've seen change, I've seen growth, I've seen all these things, but now I see what I saw a long time ago. Why am I seeing that again? God, where are you? And it's not saying that I doubt God, or I doubt his healing, or I doubt his provision, or I doubt what he's doing in my life, but I'm like, God, what I'm seeing is not what I've been seeing. It's not the healing that you said. It's not the healing that I've seen. It's not the provision. It's not growth. God, what is this? Why am I seeing this again? And brought me to the scripture that says, I pray that the eyes of your heart may be enlightened in order that you may know the hope to which he has called you. So I prayed for me. I prayed for me last night, and I prayed for you, and I hope that you're praying for you. That no matter what we see, that our faith not falter, that our faith not diminish, that our faith not be doubted. I'm not saying that it's not going to happen. Like me, I questioned it. I'm like, God, but in my humanity, I'm questioning. In my humanity, I'm going through all of this. But I have to remind myself that what my humanity sees is not God, is not what God has ordered, is not what God's fullness is. It may be what's happening in the moment, it may be what's been happening for decades, but that's not God's fullness. And I have to pray that God's fullness, which is what he, in his spiritual world, in his world, that may come to pass here in earth. And I'm asking God that. So I'm asking God to open my understanding, to enlighten my heart, so that my heart, my emotions, my thoughts can be aligned to what he's asking, or not just to what he's asking, but who he is in his fullness, because my human brain can't comprehend that. What my human eyes are seeing do not see God's fullness. And I'm praying that my heart is enlightened. Just like Paul prayed for them, I pray for me, and I pray that you pray for you. And it's not that it's being oh, it's all about me and egocentric. No. It's just that we spend a lot of time caring for everybody else and praying for everyone else. Can we take a moment? Can we pause and remember that we can pray for ourselves too? We are called, we're anointed, we can too. So I pray that your heart is enlightened and that you can have an encounter with God like you haven't had before. Thank you so much for being with me here today. Pray for me. I'm going to pray for you. I'll see you soon.